Describe your wellness journey in one word. Oh my goodness, uncomfortable. 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 There's never been any part of wellness for me that's comfortable. I find illnesses uncomfortable. I find, like, that's the first thing I think. Whenever I'm sick, I'm like, yo, this is uncomfortable. Like, it's not even like painful, it's like uncomfortable, literally. Like, I remember being in so much pain at the client in during my articles, like literally so sick, in pain, called my friends, and they were like, "What, coming to get you to take you to the hospital?" And I kid you not, and it was just difficult because at the time, like, having a partner who's male and trying to explain that you're that sick and you actually need to go to the hospital, and them not understanding like what you mean, because like it's because of your period. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, luckily enough, my friends came to pick me up and took me to the hospital. But the first thing that I thought is, wow, this is uncomfortable. And it wasn't about anybody else. It was uncomfortable for me. The feeling of being sick is uncomfortable. The feeling of being overweight I found to be uncomfortable. The feeling of not being happy in my own skin, especially at that weight, I found to be uncomfortable. The feeling of not being happy in your own skin, period, I find to be uncomfortable. I find very many things to be uncomfortable. I find taking pills to be uncomfortable. I find going to the doctor sometimes to be a little bit uncomfortable. I'm curious, don't get me wrong. I'm always wondering, oh, I wonder what they'll find. I wonder what they'll do. I wonder. But it's uncomfortable. It's like a place where I'm like, I don't really want to be here. Unless I was coming here to shadow you and spend time with you and just learn stuff, cool. But now I'm here for you, for me. And that, yeah, I don't like it. Don't like it. Anyway, very uncomfortable. Like I said, had a very interesting relationship with wellness, with healing, with illness. And what I do find is maybe something valuable to share is I've been reading a lot about stress, chronic stress and acute stress. And I've been reading a lot about, like, the other day I Googled, like, what is the number one killer of humans in the world? Like, what is the one thing that will kill people in this world? And it's heart disease. It's heart disease. It's a specific heart disease that was mentioned. I don't want to butcher the name, but it like is cake, something along those lines. Heart disease. I think it's like a it's CAD, cardiovascular artery disease. And it's a type of heart disease. There's different types, but heart disease is the number one killer. Ischemic or CAD is basically the main killer in heart disease. And then there's a couple of others. But I found that to be so interesting, and I started also then the day after I went down a rabbit hole Googling about, like, strokes, right? So this was after one of my pets that I was looking after, I thought he was having a stroke. This is another story for another day. But I thought he was having a stroke, and so I was Googling about strokes and I was learning about them. And just one of the things that was interesting to learn about strokes is that 80% of strokes, apparently from what I've read, 80% of strokes can be avoided. That was mind-blowing to me. Mind-blowing. 80%. And the thing with a stroke is, like, it depends how quickly you get help. If you don't get help quickly, sana, cima amabon, cima amabon, cima. Like, if you don't get help, you could literally go into a vegetative state. But 80%, according to the article I was reading and the website that I was on, and I mean, I typically look at multiple websites when I research something. Like, I'm that pedantic. I'll, like, want to see what other people say. Like, I need at least 4 to 5 sources, And I was shocked. I was like, 80% can be avoided. And then I obviously went in and I was like, how do we avoid this? And this will be a conversation on another day that I'm definitely going to do, because I think this is important. And I think just understanding how we prevent these things, what are some of the steps we can take. And even with heart disease, like, I went down the rabbit hole of, okay, how do I prevent heart disease? How do I live a heart healthy life? And now I'm all about living a heart healthy life, Sadna. I mean, I did have a Kit Kat last night, but I'm still about living a heart healthy life. And I don't think a heart healthy life means you never have a Kit Kat. So, I hope Kit Kat sponsors me at this point, because yo, Sana, ndiyaithanda Kit Kat. But what I was going to say about this is one of the reasons why I left my job last year was, there were many hosts of reasons, but one of the reasons was because I had been sick for 4 months. For 4 months, I was sick. When I made the decision to leave my job, I had been so sick that I was bedridden. And in that, as much as I had enjoyed my work, and yes, I was doing well, whatever the case may be, I was stressed. And one of the things that I do want to talk about at some point, which I will do a video on, is chronic stress, but not only chronic stress, but stress factors, stressors. Chronic stressors are wild because acute stress is different, right? Acute stress, okay, we'll talk about this at a different stage, but like chronic stressors are wild. And I found that like the things that were stressing me out in my environment, yes, there were times when it was things related to me, and then at times it was things related to Tom, to Ted. Do you know what I'm saying? To Jasper. And now, like, so I get Jasper, le Tom, le Ted, and now, like, I must live a happy life because okay, I only knew you like 10 seconds ago. And now and now someone else could be like, no, don't let people stress you out. It's difficult when you're navigating a ton of things, okay, that I won't even go into right now. But we all know that corporate is full of a ton of things that we have to navigate on a daily basis. And what I will say is that like the stress that I got from that had me sick. Me pouring into other people all the time, never leaving anything for myself, got me sick. And eventually I was like, I'm out. Now, that is not a decision that a lot of people can make, right? So I'm extremely grateful to be able to be in a position to make that decision. But again, it was because I had lived my life literally for my work for so many years, never really doing anything for myself, right? Hardly, let me say not never, but hardly ever doing anything for myself such that I then financially could find myself in a position where I could do that. However, I do understand that most people don't have that luxury. It's a privilege, 100%. But such an important conversation to have, because when that is the case, and the study that recently came out from Mail and Guardian that shares about depression, stress, anxiety, and a number of other disorders that people are feeling in the market in South Africa. How do we manage this? How do we manage it so that we don't have a country where half of our population is dying due to stress-induced illnesses? Because stress is one of the things that can cause things like heart disease, cancer, all that, like diabetes. No, it's a no from me. It's a no from me. So anyway, all of this to say that my wellness journey has been uncomfortable. But again, really glad for the journey that I've been on and all the stuff I'm learning and all the things I'll continue to learn, because trust me, I don't know much. Okay. I know what I know today, but it's not a lot. It's not a lot. Describe your journey with beauty in one word and why. Ooh. My one word for beauty would be evolving. And this is interesting because for me, you've always heard the saying, beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder. I think I'm learning that I'm the beholder. I think growing up, you think the beholder is the other people. You think the beholder is your crush in high school. You think the beholder is, Morris Chestnut. You think it's Morris Chestnut, honey. No, it is not. It's not Morris Chestnut. It is you. It is you. You are the beholder of your own beauty. And when you love yourself and you learn how to love yourself and you learn how to see your own beauty as if you were your own creator, if you understood how God views you, a queen, a doll. But yes, my relationship with beauty has just been evolving. There's moments I feel beautiful, there's moments I don't feel beautiful. I'm trying to embrace even the moments when I don't feel beautiful. And I'm finding that the more I fall in love with who I am and who I'm becoming, the more I actually see myself as beautiful, which has been such an amazing journey for me. I absolutely love that.